Hey guys, Simon here with HobbiesofaMan. Once again, today we're looking at another Flash Gordon issue. Today we're looking at issue number 8 here. And this is written by Jeremy Adams with art by Tom Derenick, Lee Lewright as the colorist, and Taylor Esposito as the letterer. And this is a pretty good issue. It kind of feels like it's dragging a little bit. Like, okay, get to meeting Dale Arden. And they do eventually manage to do that at the end of this issue, right? But at this point, we're still feeling like we're getting around to gathering the team, right? Last time we gathered Voltan, and now this opens up with Flash, fighting a skeleton, facing some guards down, some skeleton face guards. He's facing them down. He beats most of them and then lets one escape, and then he enters a room, right? And at this point, we hear Flash, "Is that really you?" right? Which is supposed to be Dale Arden's voice. But we go back in time, and this is what I'm really kind of talking about here. We spend most of this issue dealing with the fact that Flash Gordon managed to come back and meet his friends, Aura and her husband, Baron. And just in case you guys don't know, Ming's daughter is Aura. So Aura is, let's see if I can show you, this female character right there, and that's Baron in the back. And so we see Aura, who honestly feels happier than she was in some of the earlier appearances she's had, and it feels a little bit off character to me. At the same time, it also feels pretty good. Like, it's nice to have a character that's not dour, because most of the characters are pretty dour. I mean, Flash isn't really sad or angry, but there is a certain melancholy to all of these characters so far, right? So Aura seems to be quite happy, and that's good. But her relationship with her consort, her husband Baron, seems very loving and also kind of weird, because in the way that she's drawn and stuff, it almost feels like she's kind of throwing herself on Flash, and it didn't really work for me the way they interacted. Like, I like the fact that maybe there is some underlying history or tension between Flash and Aura, but don't do that in front of her husband character. Like, that doesn't really work for me. Like, it makes it kind of worse, and even if it's not necessarily meant to be that way, it definitely can be taken that way, and it makes her come off as like a kind of shitty character, right? Which should not be the case, because she seems to be kind of the most interesting one, right? Like, she is the daughter of the Dark Lord character. Like, that's cool, right? There is something valuable there, and that's not really explored at all, right? So she does a quick info dump telling us all the stuff that's happened in the previous 7 issues, and then he gets information from Aura about what happened to Dale Arden, right? Basically, she changed. She is doing stuff that she wouldn't have done before, and it's kind of unclear why, but it seems like it might have been because she's being brainwashed by the character that she's supposed to be marrying, or that she's married to, whose name is Acid or something like that. Let's see if I can figure it out. Aten, right? His name is Aten. King Aten, or Emperor Aten. And so it seems like she's been brainwashed by him in some way, and it's not good. She stopped talking to Aura and Baron and Voltan and all of the other characters that we're aware of. So Flash immediately wants to go rescue her, right? And they develop this plan to get in there, right? At the same time, we see that Sarkov wakes up again. Finally, he finds out how to get down into a ship, and then manages to find where Flash would be. Just kind of guessing, Flash wants Dale Arden. Dale Arden is in this place. Flash will eventually go there, so I gotta be there when it happens, right? And so the characters both go there, and we see that when they arrive on Mongo City, which is a chunk of rock just kind of floating in the sky, Flash kind of sneaks in. It almost feels like Phantom Menace when Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn kind of make their way into Naboo. Very similar stuff here. And as Aura and Baron meet with Aten, Flash makes his way into the castle. We catch up to the beginning of the story, and we see that he has found Dale Arden. And the thing is that he's happy to see her. She's acting happy as well, and she's holding a knife in her hand behind her back. So she's ready to stab him, right? And that's kind of where we end here. Now, afterwards, there's a timeline again. We see a little bit of a comic strip, and then there is a kind of preview for Flash Gordon Quarterly, which is a series of one-shots that are supposed to tie into the story that we're seeing here, but there hasn't really been a reason to pick them up, because what I've seen out of it doesn't feel like that special. At the same time, there are kind of gaps in the story here at different issues that might mean that you have to read those quarterly issues, right? If that is the case, I hope that when it's collected, they kind of include those. If that is not the case, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. There's some ways in which this story is being handled that I quite like. And then in some other ways, it feels like maybe they're taking too long. And the fact is that Flash Gordon is not really a premier title, right? Like I don't think that many people pick it up. Even though there is a lot of value to the Flash Gordon IP, a lot of people understand that this is where like the modern sci-fi kind of aesthetic comes from to an extent, right? Like in movies and stuff. It's not necessarily like in the zeitgeist, right? And so taking so long to be impactful is maybe hindering the story, right? So I don't know. I feel like there is kind of there was a pretty high expectation with the early stuff, with the first 2 or 3 issues. And then from there, it feels like it's kind of rolling down the hill. It's eventually going to pick up speed, but it's taking too long to do so, right? And if you compare it to other things like Thundercats or Transformers, Thundercats is doing something similar. They're taking a long time to establish their universe, but Declan Shalvey is supposed to be developing this larger situation, right? And even though it's not great that it takes so long, it does kind of feel like eventually it does make it valuable, right? And also, Thundercats is a much bigger IP. It's much more relevant in the zeitgeist. There's a lot more people that are interested in it, right? At least from my view, right? Transformers hits right directly from the start, and it keeps going, and it continues to get bigger and bigger over time, and it's just really fun. And it also has a lot of people interested in it. It's very much in the zeitgeist. Flash Gordon is kind of in a similar vein. It's like an old title that has been revived for whatever reason, and it's just not quite hitting the same. Even though I like Jeremy Adams' writing a lot, I enjoy it. I think it's pretty good, and the artwork and stuff has been great as well. I wonder how long Mad Cave can keep this up, right? I'm not sure that it's for very long. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that if you have any thoughts on it. And thank you so much for watching, and see you guys later.